So welcome everyone. A warm welcome to Happy Hour. And for this edition of Happy Hour, I'd like to invite us to continue to explore another one of the paramis. We've been exploring the different perfections. There this teaching of 10 perfections, the 10 beautiful qualities, the 10 paramis, 10 paramitas. And we've been exploring the different paramis with respect to, in relationship to metta. Metta, kindness, goodwill, friendliness is also one of the paramis. And we've been exploring the different nuances of metta with respect to these other ones. So for tonight, tonight, this morning, whatever your time, the time zone might be, for this moment in time, the invitation is to explore virya. Virya in Pali, the word is virya, and it's often translated as energy or effort. But I don't like the word effort so much. I prefer the translation as energy or engagement, the level of engagement, because the word effort brings up a sense of tightness, effort, because sometimes what's actually wise effort is more relaxing, more letting go. So engagement, how engaged you are with the subject, in this case with metta, the level of energy, the kind of energy that we're bringing to it. So in the exploration tonight, the invitations that I will have for us while we explore together, one is to explore the type of energy or engagement that we often bring to the practice of cultivating goodwill and friendliness. What kind of energy are we bringing to it? What kind of engagement? Is this the bear down, must do this, may you be well, may you be happy, may I be well? Or is it more gentle? What is the quality of the energy we're bringing to this cultivation? And what is the quality of the engagement? Are we really engaged? All throughout, we'll be noticing our minds wandering. What is the engagement? Are we kind of engaging with the object of our metta from kind of far away? Are we getting close? Are we getting really engaged when we wish metta for ourselves, goodness for ourselves? Are we really engaged in it? Or are we kind of like wishing ourselves well from afar? From, you know, with a 2-foot pole, like, oh yeah, may I be well. So exploring these qualities of engagement when we're practicing, what is it like? So those would be some of the invitations. And also vice versa, at some point, I will invite you, I'm going to give you a heads up. I will invite you. You don't have to participate in this part if you don't want to, but I'm going to invite you at some point to just dip in for a moment, It won't be very long. We'll do some cleansing after, but for a moment, engage in the opposite of metta with some ill will, resentment, maybe for just 30 seconds, either for yourself or someone you had some entanglement. And then check in the energy in your body, in the physical energy of your body. See what the quality is, and then we'll switch. Of course, we do a cleansing. We'll switch to metta for yourself and for the other being, and then see the quality of the energy, the energetic quality, engagement quality in your mind and your heart, and it can be quite illustrative and opening to really see it in real time. Things that we might engage in daily life and not quite notice, not be so aware of. So in order to increase our awareness. So these are the invitations, the territory we'll be working in today, to this moment. I don't want to be West Coast US centric in the time zone, because there are many people joining us from all over the world. So in this moment in our lives, we're going to engage with these invitations. And of course, as always, we'll start with settling, grounding, breathing, arriving in our body, and then cultivating some goodwill. So that's the the program for tonight. So with all of that, now I would like to invite you to move, shift, get into your meditation posture, whatever is supportive to you. And if it's supportive to you to lie down in this moment in time, that's fine too. See what your body needs. If your body needs to sit up straighter, if that is the kind of, that's the energy that's required to bring up more awakeness, wakefulness, or is the energy too tight right now in your body? And what's asked for is a relaxation, a softening, a letting go, and maybe lying down to soften and smooth out the energy. So check into your virya right now, the engagement, the energy, and see what is needed. What is needed right now? And as you've decided what is needed right now, know that later there might be adjustments that you can do and you wish to do through this meditation. Let's arrive. Let's arrive again and again. Each moment, a new arrival. Arriving in this body. Arriving in this moment. With every out-breath. Arriving more, connecting more. Feeling your bottom on the chair and the cushion. Feeling your abdomen fill with the breath. And be emptied. From the inside, feeling your hands from the inside. As if your hands themselves could feel themselves. You're not feeling them, noticing them, aware of them from the control tower of the mind, but your hands themselves, aware, an organ of sense, an organ of awareness, sensing. Sensing, feeling the sensations. A different kind of engagement. A different kind of engagement. Sensations felt. Explored. Received. By the hands. And softening, relaxing the face, muscles, sensing also from the inside of your face itself. The face itself relaxes. It is not relaxed by the control tower, but internally. Inviting the body to breathe itself. Receiving the breath wholeheartedly in the chest, in the abdomen. A sense of engagement with the breath. more intimacy, more connection, more engagement. Sensing engagement from within, the body engaging with the breath. The whole body engaging. Your sit bones, your legs, your feet. Your arms, your hands. Your face, your neck, your shoulders. Your chest, your abdomen. Become aware, attuned into how the body is engaging with the breath. Is it trying to catch, squeeze the breath? Is it receiving the breath? Feeling nourished, nurtured by it. Is there an engagement with each and every breath? This in-breath, just this in-breath. This out-breath, new, different, fresh. Or is it like, yeah, in-breath, out-breath, yeah. Notice. Don't judge, just notice. Get to know. So you know the gradations of engagement, energy. Virya with this awareness. Also notice if it's too tight, if the body, the mind is too tight, if the energy is too wanting, too grabby. If it is, relax it a little bit, soften, more spacious. If there is not enough engagement, the mind is wandering, wafting through here and there. Maybe more engagement, more energy is needed. As if you were tuning a violin. Not too tight, the string, not too loose. If it's too tight, relax it. If it's too loose, bring more energy, engagement. And err on the side of being more relaxed. Folks often tighten up too much when they hear engagement and energy. So go 20% towards relaxation and see how that feels. That might be the better spot. Now go 20% more. towards relaxation and observe what happens. Now see if there can still be intimacy, and go another 20% towards relaxing the body, receiving the breath. As if you couldn't go any more towards more relaxation of the body. One more time. Staying with receiving the breath with engagement, but relaxing the body, softening. Another 20%. And just note what you've noticed. Just note in your mind what you've witnessed, what you've observed, if anything, through this exploration. Now I'd like to invite you to bring to mind someone for whom your sense of goodwill, kindness, care flows with ease. A dear being in your life. Be a good friend, a benefactor, a parent, a teacher, a child, a pet. Bringing them to your mind's eye. And noticing how much energy engagement there is. With this being in your mind's eye. What if you increase the engagement by 20, 30%? You really brought them close. You imagined them as clearly as you could. Being in their element. The way they maybe talk or move or their mannerisms. The way they smile, perhaps. As vividly as you can. bringing up a few snippets of your interaction from the store of your memory, storehouse of memory. Maybe the way they smell. Using as many senses as you can. Visual, auditory, the storehouse of memory. Sense of smell, tactile. And see what arises in your heart, in your mind, in your body. And you really conjure them up in this way, with more engagement than you tend to. And can you really be engaged and notice, really grok, really notice what arises in you? Recognize, is it friendliness? Is it love? Is it warmth? Is it a sense of care? Is it delight? Is it a smile? Really become more engaged and clear with what arises in you. Is it tenderness? Does your heart feel squeezed? Does it feel uplifted? Both? Engaging, noticing what's arising. And notice if their image, if their felt sense has waned, and how the feeling in your heart might be waning too, how the two are connected. If there's engagement with their felt sense, with their image, how they feel to you. How this feeling in your heart can also become brighter when their image becomes brighter, their smell, their sound becomes brighter, more energetically connected to. Feeling in your heart, the Metta sense becomes brighter. Notice that. Explore for yourself. And now, from this sense of goodwill, metta, friendliness, love, whatever the nuance is in your heart, let's say the phrases of metta. May you be safe, dear one. May you be happy, dear one. May you be healthy, dear one. May your life flow with ease, dear one. And now, notice the engagement, the energy, really connecting the sentiment, the phrases, however works for you, really connecting that, the sense, saying it like you really mean it, and connecting it to their image, to their felt sense. If you really mean for them. May you be safe. I wish you safety. May you be safe, dear one. And notice how it feels with a sense of increased engagement. It feels like in your body, in your heart. May you be happy. I wish you joy in your heart, dear one. Connecting with the wish for happiness. Wanting this dear being to be happy, connecting, engaging. Not attached to outcome, but engaged with the wish, engaged with the goodwill, with the phrase in this way. The third Metta phrase. May you be healthy, dear one. I wish you health. And the last Metta phrase. May you have ease. May you be peaceful, dear one. May you take care of yourself happily. Noticing how there can be more engagement, more connection with their image, with the felt sense of metta, with the phrases. Engagement, but without yearning or attachment to outcome. How the two can be different. As if these wishes are offered up freely, without attachment, with engagement, but without clinging. And notice how clinging and engagement are different. Take a moment to explore for yourself. And now I'd like to invite you, after you've noticed, you've taken note of the energetic engagement with this practice, what it feels like. This cultivation of goodwill. Now bringing to mind someone you've had some level of entanglement with. Not the biggest person, not the biggest entanglement, but some entanglement. And let's start with, let's continue the metta replacing this dear being with this person, that there's been some entanglement. Just and at first realizing that this being too just wants to be happy, not to condone the harm that has been done, but seeing their humanity and seeing if there can be a sense of goodwill for their humanity. In your mind's eye, they may need to sit a little further, not right in front of you, for you to feel safer. That's okay. See if there can be a sense of goodwill. Just like you, this person wants to be happy, this being. They may not always have wisdom and compassion, but there are aspects of this being that are also beautiful. There are beings that this being cares about. This being has love for some other beings. And this being is the object of affection, object of care, of concern of other beings. Just like you, they suffer. They have body aches and pains. They have highs and lows. They've had disappointment, sorrow, grief, sadness. Just like you, they've had hopes and dreams. They have hopes and dreams. They're a human being with a complex, rich inner life. And simply seeing their humanity, letting there be a sense of goodwill. Just as I wish to be happy. Just as I wish to be happy. Just as I wish to be safe. May you have safety. Just as I wish to have happiness. I wish you gladness. Just as I wish health for myself, I wish you physical well-being. And just as I wish myself ease and peace, I wish you peace. Let's see, as much as this goodwill is available, as little as it's available. And feel energetically. It may not be as easy, as engaged as your dear being, but as much goodwill as there can be, with modifications perhaps. And now here's an invitation you don't have to accept. You don't have to do this part. It's an exploration. Energetically, what if for a moment you brought more awareness? Not to the sense of seeing their humanity, but seeing the harm. Kind of feeling energetically, the knot perhaps in your chest shows up. Energetically feeling maybe hot, or See how exhausting that might feel for you if the mind focuses on the harm, on the hurt. Not to condone it, but if the mind really grasps, that becomes the only reality. Not seeing the full picture, but only seeing putting that under the microscope for a moment. Whew. Just observe how energetically tight and draining it feels for you. And now let's do the cleansing. Whew. Having made the observation, if you chose, let go with the out breath. Let go. Let go. Let go of this experiment. And acknowledge that we're all mixed bags. We all cause intentional or unintentional harm. And again, seeing this being, the harm that has been caused, that's just a part of the picture. But this being is much richer and bigger than that, much more complexity, a lot of goodwill they have for other beings. Perhaps for you, they've had it at some point. Allowing there to be a richer image. Realizing that in many ways you are not so different. But again, just like you, this being suffers, has goodwill, wants to be happy. And seeing if your body can feel safer and more relaxed. Not as tight, not as drained. Seeing the bigger picture, the life arc of this being. And having more metta, more compassion for this being. See what happens in your body when your heart, if your heart opens to more metta, more compassion. Not honing in just on the harm. Experiment. And in your mind's eye now, bow to this being. Thank you for showing up and letting me explore, letting go of them, and inviting your dear being from the beginning of the practice. Inviting them back to your mind's eye, feeling their presence, how your body feels in their presence, sense of safety, gladness, uplift. Spending a few minutes with your dear being, bringing them close, really engaging with them, seeing them up close. The care they have for you, the love they have for you, the love you have for them, the care you have for them. Let yourself feel the connection, the goodwill, the metta. There's the last moment of this practice, moment or two, bowing to them, letting them go. Thank you for showing up. And just coming back to the body, feeling the body, breathing, being breathed. Letting there be a sense of arriving again in this moment. There is a sense of calm, peace, of having completed a journey. And holding yourself with appreciation and care for having hung in here, for having tried and explored whatever arose. Thank you all. Welcome back from our exploration, which I think at times might have been quite intense tonight. So, I'd like to invite you to share any reflections. If you like to share, either unmuting yourself or typing in chat. There's some observations that came up for you that were new and different and insightful. Yeah, maybe I'll start by saying, yeah, I think I realized how energetically bringing the person we had some entanglement with and bringing that up even for a moment, how energetically tight that could feel in the body and the chest. And how going back to sense of goodwill can be relaxing and opening, and how I'm the one who suffers when I ruminate about the entanglements. Again, not to condone, but ruminating about them can be quite energetically challenging and painful. So please, the floor is yours. What did you observe? Mary Christine, please.
My mind became very scattered.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. And I found it hard to focus. So because I felt that I couldn't focus, I went back to the loving person who did not create that anxiety, who did not generate that kind of anxiety within me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I could feel a sense of anxiety arising. Thank you. And Joan offers, thanks, this made me feel wonderful. Great. Glad to hear that, Joan. Thank you for sharing that reflection. Any other reflections you'd like to share, please? You're welcome to unmute yourself or type.
I might jump in. So I had a kind of dissonance or a confusion when moving from the person that caused suffering to thinking about them. So it's that interpretation of knowing that this person might have done something unknowingly wrong. So it's a mixture of anger and forgiveness at the same time. So confusion was what came up for me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So as you brought the image of this being, there was a sense of confusion because there was an acknowledgement that it was unintentional harm, yet it was harm. So the sense of anger, and then it was unintentional for, so desire for forgiveness, which might be nascent because there's still the anger. So there's a sense of the confusion that arising. And is the confusion more like, oh, what is the correct response of the heart at this point? Or what's the flavor of it?
It's just a felt sense of two rivers meeting at a central point and flowing around each other.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And
it's very here.
what was it like to sit with that river, with the two rivers, with the confusion?
Just watching it.
Just watching it, yeah. And this was quite brief tonight. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. I think sitting with that river, I think there's a lot there. I think the place of meeting of two rivers seems like there's a lot happening. Yeah. I hadn't considered the sense of confusion that can rise. Thank you, Nav. Barry, you wanted to add something, please. Offer something. You're muted.
No, I'm muted. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna talk a little bit about the transition to a person with more entanglement. And I too became less settled because I went through this whole thing in my mind about not even knowing anybody, or who should I pick, or is this too entangled or is this not entangled? No, I mean, I went through all this stuff about it. And I was talking to a couple of people about Metta earlier today, because part of me still doesn't really quite get it. And they were talking about the heart opening up. And I was thinking, I have a hard heart because I don't really feel it there. So I'm still trying to get my head around Metta and how it works as a practice.
Well, you keep showing up. So I think you keep practicing, and there's so many different dimensions and aspects of Metta. And I think all of us continue to explore and get our heads around with what Metta is all about. So yeah, and also what you shared about the unsettledness. So the point that I think I want to raise before we quickly go into rooms is the sense of really noticing energetically. The first part, noticing when you engage more with the image of the being. If you really engage with the phrases, if you really engage with you really notice that the response that comes up in your heart, how there's more engagement, the metta can actually flow more. Did anyone notice that? If anyone noticed that, if you'd like to comment on it or write it in chat, that experiment of engaging more with the image of the being, with the felt sense, with the smell, with the touch, with how they sound. Yeah,
I found that. Sometimes, metta, works better than others, and I can't say I always understand why, right? And this sort of, was part of it, obviously, right? That by better engaging, it sort of, made it work better. It made, the feeling in my chest and my stomach, more expansive, more encompassing.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for explaining. Yeah, the feeling in your chest and your stomach more encompassing. Beautiful. And that's one thing that I'm hoping everyone got to some extent, because it has to do with the engagement. How much engagement you have with this practice is how it supports its growth. So back to what Barry was saying, trying to get your head around this practice, Barry, engagement is one aspect to really bring to mind. How much are you engaging with the being, with the beings in your mind? So time is flying. So let's move to the breakout rooms. So the prompt is always the same. How is the practice? No right or wrong. and how you show up. Can you show up with a sense of engagement, holding yourself with metta, and a sense of engagement with yourself and with others? How does that show up? Metta for yourself, metta for others, goodwill all around. And see if you can use the energy of the metta to show up in the room, not the real, not the worldly energy of, oh, now I'm going to talk with people, I should put my talk to people face on. Not that energy. See if you can engage with the energy of you've just meditated, you've just freshly meditated, you've wished someone goodwill. Can you bring that energy to this interaction? It's a very different energy. Notice it, grok it. Most people avoid the interactive part because they think of, oh yeah, I need to engage with people. Like, yeah, I need to. It's a different energy. See if you can bring that kind of a meditative energy in this interaction. Okay? All right. So I'm going to create the breakout rooms. Here we go. Okay. The rooms are all closed. Welcome back, everyone. So we have just 1 minute. So I'd like to invite, if someone hasn't spoken yet, if you would please share a reflection before we close. Anything that came up for you in the interactions.
Engaging all the different senses, the way you described it, made it a lot more vivid for me. I think it increased the intensity of the experience.
Thank you for that sharing. Wonderful. I appreciate that. And Barry shares in chat, I am not alone. Oh, lovely. I appreciate that, Barry. And the person on the phone is unmuted. Do you want to share, or is it unintentionally unmuted?
Yikes. It was not intending to speak, but deep bows. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to hear you, Michael. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you all for showing up and practicing together in this moment in time, doing this practice both for yourself and for all beings everywhere. And again, I think the take-home message, the hope of the exploration tonight was engagement, exploring engagement and energy. How metta, how when there is more engagement and energy, how the sense of goodwill, engagement with the practice of metta and feeling this sense of goodwill can change. And also when there is not a sense of goodwill, how energetically there is this sense of instability and pain. So as challenging as that was for us to experiment for a little bit, I think it is helpful. Practice doesn't always have to feel good for it to be enlightening and for us to really see something that's important to see. So I thank you all for practicing. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy, including us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nikki, could I ask you a semi-quick question?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to stop the YouTube.